Hey everyone, it's Dev. Welcome back to Emo Girl's Guide to the Galaxy. If you are a salty emo just like us, you're tired of the patriarchy, and you just want to listen to us rant about books and anime and video games and all of the things, really, you've come to the right place. So, welcome.
Yay! We're here today to talk about our book club book of the month, which was something. And as always, we
we
have a
will be
lot of thoughts.
Yeah, we will be talking about Immortal Longings by
Chloe
Chloe
Gong.
Gong. Here's the special
It's
Fairy
so
Loot
pretty too.
edition.
Like we got so tricked. But we will be doing our usual spoiler-free version in the beginning, and then we will give you a heads up before we jump into the spoilers in the second half. But before we start, we can just
Yes,
what are we up
Loretta
to?
Loretta's
What's going
excited to
on?
talk about the books that she's been
I
reading.
am. I've been
So,
on like a reading like binge. I've been reading a lot for me, and I'm very proud of myself for it.
what have you been reading?
When we went to Disney World, I was reading These Hollow Vows. That was bad. I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. I get why people would, because it's very like fun and there's a love triangle and who's she gonna choose? But I don't know. It's young adult and it's very young adult, and I don't know if I'm aging out of that kind of book or what. But I was like, I can't do this. So I DNF'd that, and then I found this girl on TikTok who was talking about this book called The Winter King. And
Mm-hmm.
usually TikTok books don't work out for me, but I read it anyway. I was like, whatever, this sounds cool. She described it as romance book version of Frozen, and I was like, hell yeah, sign me up, bet.
I feel like I saw that same video, and then you were like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna read it," and then you came back and you
She
were
was
like,
talking
"This
about
is
like
so
how she doesn't
good."
want to share it because it's so good and she doesn't want anyone else to know about it. And then she
Yeah.
described it as Frozen, but the romance book version. And I was like, this sounds great. So I picked it up. I checked it out at the library and I read it, and it was so good. It's like the first time a TikTok book has like come through, but it was
Yeah.
really good. It is like Frozen. It's like the classic romance book of Frozen if Elsa was a dude, and it's kind of long, but I liked it a lot. So recommend that one, Winter King. I think it's by C.L. Wilson. And then I read A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair, and I fucking loved that book. I don't know, like it doesn't do anything new, and it's telling a story. So like I gave it 5 stars, and I was like, I don't know if this deserves 5 stars, but I don't care because the vibes were immaculate, and I love
You were
Scarlett St.
entertained.
Clair, and Hades was hot, and I loved it. So, I mean, I recommend it. I already have the next one lined up. I'm excited. So, yeah.
Nice. I am still reading still because this is not my the past few years are not my years for reading, but I'm trying to get back into it. Um
I've gotten way into it, and I feel like I've taken your
yeah, my
reading
place.
power or something. I don't know.
I'm 150 pages into Kingdom of the Cursed, which is the second book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series.
Mm.
And I'm really enjoying it. I just have had to go back and forth between like our book club books and then that and like life,
Yeah.
but I'm really enjoying it. I also, it literally just came in like 5 minutes ago. Ordered The Cult of the Lamb for my Switch. So I'm
Nice.
excited to play that. That's
Oh,
going to take away
yeah.
from my reading time.
Oh, you bought it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like going around saving people from demons and then like getting them to join your cult. Like that's literally everything that
Yeah.
I want in life. So
I was an Animal Crossing girly, and one of my old roommates slash friends, like kind of got into it, but didn't super get into it. And she messaged. We don't live together anymore, but she messaged me one day, and she was like, "I found the game that I wanted Animal Crossing to be, and it's called Cult of the Lamb." And you have to like go and find people and bring them to your cult, and you
yeah,
fight monsters and stuff. And I was like, this sounds dope. So I bought it. It's really fun.
that's what was missing from Animal Crossing for me too. Like I need some type of like mental enrichment. Like I want puzzles, I want fighting, I want like
I totally
some
get that.
storyline. And then like
Even I
I
got bored with Animal Crossing after a while because, like, I built my island and then I was like, cool.
Yeah. Also, not to say that building an island is not mental enrichment. It's just like not my kind of mental enrichment. Like I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
designer. Like I'm not like, ooh, I'm gonna put these things together. I have somebody else do it for me. I'm like, I don't know. So I'm excited to play, and after we're done, I'm literally gonna go get my package and bust out my Switch and just like
Oh my god, send me updates and
melt. I
stuff. It's
will.
so
I will.
fun. I haven't played that in a while. I need to do it again.
Um, Also, me and the boy went to a Sonic pop-up cafe. It's called the Sonic Speed Cafe. It's like literally licensed through Sega, and they have
That's
like
cool. Oh, so
Sonic
I was
things.
you
Yeah,
said Sonic and I was thinking like Sonic
Sonic the
drive-through.
Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog Speed Cafe. That's like licensed through Sega, and it was really cute. And I posted about it on TikTok, and apparently there are a lot of Sonic fans out there because it has like 40,000 views. And I was like, okay, I guess
Wow.
Sonic the Hedgehog is a thing. But yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Not to go on a tangent, but one time I was on TikTok. I think you follow the guy Pearlmania, I think he is, and
Yeah,
he
I
did a
like
whole
Pearl
video.
Mania.
Yeah, he did a whole video about like Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction or something, and I was like, what? It was hilarious, and I didn't know that corner of the internet existed, but of course it does.
um, yeah, I got a whole like history lesson on the Sonic music and how it's like not just video game music and it's
Of
like
course he
top
knows. Of
tier
course the boy knows this.
Sonic video game music. It's like, okay, we're gonna go play Sonic then I guess and like the movies and stuff and apparently it's a thing. So
I
if
got
you're
way into
interested.
Sonic. I used to have a Sega, and I got way into Sonic when I was a kid, but I haven't
I'm
played it
kind
in
of
ages.
sad that I missed the Sonic train. Like I think I need to go back and play some Sonic. So let me know which ones are your favorite, whoever is listening.
Yeah, please. I only know the Sega version, and I no longer have a Sega, so. But
uh,
anyway, I guess we
but
should talk
yeah.
about Immortal Longings.
Oh, yay. You
She
can
says
tell by our
begrudgingly.
enthusiasm. Also, just whoever is listening, hopefully we're picking better books for the rest of the year for our book club. And if anybody has any ideas or wants to join us, but there's a specific book you want to read, join our Discord and let us know
We
or
do vote on these
comment
things.
or
We just,
whatever.
yeah, we picked our like we picked this book
Yeah, it was the
because
first one with like a bigger group in a bigger Discord setting. And we were like,
yeah.
we're going to start with this.
So we just did it up by ourselves. And in our defense, this should have hit. It was all
Yeah,
there.
yeah. To be fair, it sounded great. So, Immortal Longings, Chloe Gong. Chloe Gong. Chloe Gong is known for her
These
YA
violent.
series, These Violent Delights. I think that's a duology. There's two of them, right?
I think the main series is a duology, but then there are offshoots off of that or sequels or
Yeah.
something. So I don't know how
So
many books there are total, but
I haven't read those, but all of her books are like Shakespeare retellings from what I can tell, from what I gather. And Immortal Longings is her first adult book, and it's a retelling of Antony and
Antony and
Cleopatra,
Cleopatra. Mm.
which I'm not a heavy Shakespeare girly. Like, I know the basics, I know like the classical like retellings, and then like the new rom com adaptations.
I was
So
so mad at
I
myself reading this
went
book
in
because
blind.
I was so mad at myself reading this because I had to read. I know I had to read Antony and Cleopatra for a college class I had, and I didn't remember anything, like literally anything. I even read the summary of the play multiple times, and I was like, I don't remember any of this. I know I read it.
I was gonna say, like, to be fair, I also Wikipedia'd it and Googled it, and it confused me even more because it's a play, but it's
Very
also like
political.
historical, but not like historically accurate. It's just like the
Mm-hmm.
people, and then you have all of these different characters. And I was like, I clicked out. I was like, I don't need to know who is who. Yeah, like this is too much information. Like I'm already in deep. I don't need to know like where the parallels are. I'm just gonna go in blind and see what happens.
It did really distract me because after I read the summary of the play, I spent a lot of time trying to connect who was who.
Yes, that's what I was worried about for myself. So that's why I was just like, I need to stop because I don't have any information. So I'll just go into this blind and then if
That's
I need
probably
to look
better.
at it afterward because I was confusing myself so much. And I was like, I'm done. But anyway, for those who don't know the book, I'm going to read the synopsis because I feel like they do a better job of explaining everything. And then we can just give our high level thoughts of what we thought. Um, okay, so it says this is Chloe Gong's adult epic fantasy debut, inspired by Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. It's a fiery collision of power plays, spilled blood, and romance amidst a set of deadly games. Every year, thousands flock to Sanair, the dangerously dense capital twin cities of the Kingdom of Talon, where the palace hosts a set of deadly games. Those confident in their ability to jump between bodies can enter a fight to the death for the chance to win unimaginable riches. Princess Calla Ptolemy has been in hiding for 5 years, ever since she murdered her parents to free the people of Talon from her tyrannical family. Only one person stands in her way of finishing the job, her reclusive uncle King Kasa. However, she knows he always greets the victor of the games. If she wins, she will finally get the chance to kill him. Enter Anton Makusa, whose childhood love has lain in a coma since they were both ousted from the palace. He's deep in debt trying to keep her alive, which means his last chance of saving her is entering the games and winning. When Anton proposes an unexpected alliance with Calla, they quickly find their partnership spiraling into something all-consuming. Questionable, in my opinion. But before the games
It's all
close,
questionable.
Calla must decide what she's playing for, her lover or her kingdom, for no matter what, only one of them can walk out alive. So, my first comment on this is that, just FYI, this is not a standalone book, which is what I thought reading it.
I told you it was going to be a trilogy, and you were like, what?
It does not give off trilogy vibes at all. So anybody who is going into this, just know that it is not a standalone. It is a trilogy, and book one is so dense. Like, I was getting so much historical background, and I was like, oh, she's probably just trying to shove this in because she has to wrap everything up at the end. And you were like, oh no, there's gonna be two
there's
more
going to be
books.
2 more books after this.
Like, oh, okay.
Which sounds like torture to me now. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
But I did want to say, before we like really dive in, for reference, I did listen to the audiobook of this because it was the only way I could get through it. And so if I need to help with any pronunciation, I can. Like, it's San-R, actually, not San-R.
San-R.
San-R, Kalatualemi. Her maid or whatever, her name was crazy written.
Yeah,
but
they were all really
crazy. I can't
crazy.
remember what it was now. Chami.
I had a very hard time with the names.
Yelis, her other maid, not maid, her like handmaiden or whatever.
Yeah, her attendant.
Yelis and Chami.
Yeah,
those. August.
Yep.
Those are easy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Some fun facts though, because at the end of this book, this is what's good about the Fairy Loot editions, at least for me. They have like questions that they asked the author that she responded to, and a few of them caught my attention. One of them was them asking her what the inspiration for the city was, and it's actually inspired by a real city in China that doesn't exist anymore. Which I thought was really cool. There's like a walled, let me see if I can find it. Let me go to the back of my book.
I didn't get that far.
I thought, like, why not? It could be interesting. So I went and I read the
Fairy Loot edition also has one of the chapters with annotations, which I thought was kind of cool too.
Yes, a conversation with Chloe Gong. Okay. It is inspired by 1990s Hong Kong's Kowloon walled city. And it does not exist anymore. I didn't read too much into it, but I thought that it was really interesting that she based it off of like a real place in China. And sorry if I did not pronounce the city right. I apologize. And the other thing that got me was that, because I think that this might be interesting for readers who still do want to pick it up after we talk through all of our thoughts, is that she wanted to give this book steampunk, like cyberpunk, there you go, sorry, cyberpunk, like Blade Runner vibes, which obviously you can tell by the cover of it, and also the vibes that when she's describing the city and all of that stuff, I was like, okay,
that was my favorite part.
She said she like dipped her toe into it, that it wasn't like fully cyberpunk, but that was her like inspiration for it. And I feel like if this were a movie, if it was intended for film, or screen instead of a book, I might have been a little bit more interested in it, because at least my brain, when I have to read a lot of political intrigue and background and you get too far into like who all of these people are and like all of the different rival cities and things like that, I'm like so
This would make a
confused.
really good show. Yeah.
Yes, because the concept, like body jumping, you live in a city that like is towering high, so high up that you
The
can't see
concept of
the
this
sun or the
is
rain.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have technology, and she also said in the back of the book that it was really fun for her to decide which technology the city was going to have versus what they're not going to have, right? Because in this kind of like futuristic city, you don't really know where in time it is. And so she was like, oh, yeah, they have cell phones 100%, but cars, like, no way.
Yeah,
They
no
don't have
cars.
cars,
Yeah.
which I was like really interested in, like all of the background and her thoughts of what she was going to put in and what not. So, like, the futuristic city and the body jumping and like even the competition of fighting to the death until only one person survives, or you can leave. Like, it's not like the Hunger Games where you're stuck. You can literally like disqualify yourself if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But all of that is so intriguing, and it was so, the concept was at least really fun for
This
me.
should have been
It
a
was
hit. I
just,
don't know
it was the
how it was a
execution
miss.
for me. Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
execution. I thought that the writing style was really slow. Like, it
Super
wasn't
slow.
fast paced enough for me, especially knowing that this was going to be 3 books. Like, I didn't think the pace of this book needed to be as slow as it was, and there was a lot of unnecessary explanations of like, oh, you needed to know that like 1,000 years ago that there was this war with this city and then we conquered them and now there's a big wall. Like, it was just, I would have preferred the historical stuff to come out naturally in like dialogue or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the romance part of it took too long to get to. Like, I felt like
So
everybody,
long.
all of the
And then
characters
it
were,
happened all at once. Like there was
yes,
nothing, and then it just happened all at one time.
all of the main character. Also, you get so many different POVs in this book. I think there are 3 main POVs, right?
Normally that doesn't bother me, but this was it was a lot for because there was already a lot happening, so it was a lot for this
Yes.
book.
You get 3 main POVs, and all of the 3 main characters are like separated. Like, they're living their own lives and they only come together once in a while. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like, why does this matter? Like, why am I watching August live his life in the palace, and then why am I seeing Kella like off in the streets, and then Anton just like, I don't know, doing his recluse stuff? Like, I don't, it
Yeah.
was just all like very, and it
With
jumped so quickly. Like, it wasn't even like chapter based. It was like in one chapter you went from Kala doing one
August
thing
to
to
Calla to
August, and I
Anton.
was like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, what? This is a whiplash. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
where are we?
It's so weird when I think about the individual qualities of this book because, like, I liked the world building. I actually
Yes.
liked a lot of the characters, kind of. The concept was really cool, like the competition and the body jumping, but like putting
Yeah.
it all together and how she did it. Oh my
Yes.
god.
I would even say that like some of the fight scenes and some of the action scenes were pretty interesting. Like, it
Yeah.
held my attention for those like 5 pages
I did
of
get
like
very
them going back and forth.
confused. I did get very confused with Anton because he's one of the people that can body jump really well and he's really good at it. So he does it a lot. And I would get confused, like, who are you now? Where did we go?
Yes.
But it was cool.
Yeah.
That
It
part of it.
was, again, the high level concept of it was very interesting, but I found the writing to be a little boring for me.
So dry. It's so
And
dry.
the romance goes like -1,000 to 100 full speed. Like,
Yeah.
there, I don't know, there was like no lead up to it. It just happened so quickly, and then they were obsessed with each other, and I was like, this is
I was
not
excited
fun.
for that too. Like I know that Antony and Cleopatra, like infamous toxic codependent relationship couple. So I was excited for the drama, like to watch them be toxic together. I was like, let's do it. And then nothing happens the entire book. And then finally we just go from 1 to 1,000. And then they're obsessed with each other. And I was like, where was this earlier when I was bored? Like,
Yes.
I don't care anymore now. Now
Yes.
it's too late and I don't care.
Yeah, that was my thing. Because also of note, because I kept track, I think it's around 100-ish pages, maybe a little bit more, but it takes forever for them to meet. Like they don't
Oh
meet right
yeah.
away. They're
I
off
want to
doing their
say it
own
was like
things.
40% because I was on the audiobook. So I think it was like 40% of through the
Yeah, maybe
audiobook
like
where they
uh,
meet and then they finally get together at like 80.
yeah. And then everything happens and you're like, "What?" Okay.
There were some good twists at the
I was gonna
end,
say yes, there were a few things that I did, like the twists were
but it
like,
took too long to
wow.
get there. It
The
took
shock
way too.
factors, yeah.
Yeah.
And I did like the secret religious society and the plot twist with that. Uh
I liked that, but it was I don't know.
how
When they introduced that as another element, I was like, I have to keep track of this too now.
Yes, I was gonna say it was too convoluted. Like, again, there was too much history going on and too many things being introduced at one time. Where that's why I felt like it was just a standalone because like, they had to do all of that in one.
Yeah,
But
why
it
else
was
would
like,
you?
yeah, it was like the secret religious society, which I really enjoyed that element, and I wish there would have been more of that and like those secrets. There was the enemy country that they were saying, the Siccan country or Sika or wherever it's
Oh,
Sika,
yeah.
Sika, I don't know how
Psycha?
to
I think it's Psycha.
Sika, and those people who were they were like, oh, we have invaders. There was the palace and all of that stuff going on, and then all of the different people who were playing the games. It
Hmm.
was a lot.
One thing I will say too, speaking of cities, is that I was absolutely desperate for a map of this place. Like, because I kept getting confused. I was listening to it. First of all, let me say that listening to this book was probably not a good idea because I missed
You missed a
no
lot.
joke. No joke. I legit straight up probably missed half of this book, but I also couldn't pay attention when I read it. So I was like, I have to I'm
I
not getting
know.
through
I
this if
remember.
I I either listen to it and miss all of it or I don't read it. So
I
but
was gonna.
anyway,
I was gonna say. I remember starting it and asking you questions, and you were like, "No, I don't think that
I
they
think
mentioned
I don't
that." And
know.
then, like two
I
pages
think
later, I was
August's
like,
adopted.
"Yeah." And then 2 pages later, there's like a description of what I was asking about, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know that."
Nope.
I'm like, "It's
I
there."
was powering through. I was like, I'm not stopping. I'm just going to keep going. But they would talk about the different cities, and then I got confused because there's San and R, and they're like two different cities, but they talk about them together in one or
Yes.
something. And
So
then there are other cities that she mentions too, and I was like, I am absolutely desperate for some kind of map.
yes, yes. The basic concept of it is that there's two cities, but when she killed her parents and off them, that King Casa, who is the brother of her dad,
Hmm.
so her uncle, goes over and says, "Oh, we're gonna make one palace. Like now we're gonna be ruling together." And then
Oh, see, this is the stuff I missed.
yeah, they bridge the cities. So they have like the main city in the kingdom of Talon, right? They're the king rules over Talon, which is the country. In
Hmm.
Talon, the country, they have San R, which is the main city where the palace is. San used to be ruled over by the uncle, and R used to be where her and her parents ruled in that palace. But then they
Gotcha.
died, and then he was like, okay, we're going to combine the cities now. So now we're going to make the wall around both cities, not just one or whatever. And then outside of the wall is the rest of Talon, which is all of the farmers and homesteaders and stuff that like pay
Hmm.
taxes but don't get any of the benefits
The
from
poorer
the king.
people, yeah.
Yes. So that's like how the structure of the kingdom works.
See, this is the shit I missed.
That's why it took me forever to finish this book.
You did pretty
um,
good at powering through, though.
yeah, but to recap, so overall, do I recommend this book? Not necessarily.
Nope.
It is the concept is really fun. I wish that I could digest it in a different format. Like I wish she would have sold the rights to like a movie script or a TV script. I don't know. Just because that's how my brain works. And the writing necessarily wasn't my favorite. It was really slow, and I don't think that the toxic romance trope was necessarily fulfilled in this first book.
Yeah.
Those are my like overall thoughts. It was kind of confusing, but I did enjoy the plot twists and the cyberpunk elements and the tech and the crazy city and nightlife and stuff like that.
Honest to God, if they made this a TV show, I will watch it in a heartbeat. I think it would translate a lot better to like screen. If I could keep track of people by looking at them, it would be so much easier.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I could see like the body jumping happening in like the city and stuff, that would be really cool. But anyway, yeah, I agree. I do not recommend this book personally. I love Shakespeare shit too, but no.
Yeah.
I got so
Yes.
bored. I'm definitely not gonna keep reading the series. So
And you know that I'm one of those people that's like I need to know how it ends, and this is like one of the very
it's like
rare
the first
times.
time I've ever seen you be like, nah.
This is one of the very rare times where I'm like, you know what? I don't necessarily care. And I feel like I will go into that more when we do spoilers, just so that way people don't
Mm-hmm.
hear all of the plot twists if they want to read it. But there's something very specific that happens that I was just like, which I told you, which I already texted you about, but I
Yeah,
was just like,
I liked it, but
meh.
you were like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's like, I could do without this. Like, it's not the same anymore. To me,
Yeah,
at least. I don't know. Um, But yeah, so over I gave this 3 stars. What did you give it? Because it wasn't
two.
super bad. To me, it wasn't like I don't even know what book to what book was so like to me it wasn't poorly written. It wasn't necessarily anything about the book itself. It was just like
Yeah.
slow and boring, and I wish it was just a little bit faster and not so much history in one. Like I wanted
Mm-hmm.
more excitement.
I agree with that. Yeah, I gave it two because I give 3 stars to books that I like. It's like 3 stars to me is like books that I like. They didn't like blow me away or anything, but I finished it. It was fine. Whatever. But if I didn't have to read this for book club, I would not have read it. I would have DNF'd it so fast. So I gave it two because I wouldn't have finished it otherwise.
Okay, fair. I gave it 3 because for me, my scale is 3 is average. Like I liked something about it, right? Like I finished it, I read it, it was meh. And then 2 is like I hated this book. There was like I don't know, something wrong with it, poorly written, typos. And then 1 is like I only
Dear
finished
God,
this
get it
to
away
say
from
that I
me.
could finish this book. Like
Yeah.
whatever. So 3 stars. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever read, but it wasn't the best thing I've ever read. It could have been the best thing, but it
Yeah,
should
this
have
had so
been
much
more.
potential, but
She should have sped it up a bit. She should have skipped the history lessons if it was going to be a trilogy and given that to us
yeah, that was
later
an
on
odd
down the
choice.
line. Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that it actually added to the story at all or the
Yeah, I
plot.
don't know
Like
if we
from what I
needed
can
it.
remember, like I remember those tidbits of history that she provided us, but I could not connect it to anything that was relevant to
We
what
kind
they
of
were
needed it
trying
a
to
little
do.
bit because of some of the political stuff that happens, but I don't think we needed as much as we got.
Yes. And like I said, I would have enjoyed it more if it was a dialogue between characters versus just like back in the day in the history
Yeah.
of Talon. Like, okay, got it. But yeah, okay, so this is the official mark. We've been here for like 30 minutes. There's your
Spoiler
spoiler
free.
free review of Immortal Longings. Did we enjoy it? Not necessarily. Does it have potential? 100%. The concept is great. Maybe listen to it or wait for it to come out as a movie. I don't know. She might get her movie deal. Um, but now we will go into spoilers specifically about all of the things. So if you don't want to hear spoilers,
This is your
click out now.
warning.
Or if you do, because you're not going to read it now, or because you already read it,
You
stick
can hear us
around.
complain for a while.
Stick around. But yeah, we'll be starting our excuse me. We'll be starting our spoilers now. Who wants to start? You want me to start? Because I have thoughts. You can also start.
I don't even know where to start, so you go first. I'll piggyback.
All right, my first thought is that I absolutely hated all of the main characters.
They were all morally gray, and I was like, who am I rooting for?
Yes, I was like, there's no point. I want everybody to fail.
I
Like, I
love
don't
Mia
want
Morial.
anybody to get
Yeah.
there. what
I
they
love
want.
me a morally gray character, but dear God, I like tell me who I should be rooting for because I have no idea.
um they were just all so annoying. Like their internal dialogue, their everything about it, I was like, nobody is doing this for the right reason. Like nobody is doing what they want for
For a
good.
while, Calla was my favorite because she was pretty badass, and I was like, you're the one I'm rooting for, I guess, because I hate you the least." And then, and then Anton finds out her secret. I don't know if that's a whole other tangent that Dev wants to go on. But Anton finds out her secret, and then she gets all weird about it, and she's like, "Oh, he knows, and I'm vulnerable now." And I don't know. She like starts getting whiny, and she's like, "What do
Yeah.
I do?" And then she's like obsessed with him, and they have sex, and then she's like, "I love you," and he's like, "Wow, okay, I love you too, I guess." And I was like, "What is I don't know what is happening right now."
Yeah, it was just really
She like
weird.
turned into a completely different character in my eyes, and I was like, "Well, I'm not rooting for you anymore, so now I don't know who I'm rooting for."
Yeah. Okay, let's get into her little the I think it's the first plot twist of the book, which is that
It was the first
Calla,
significant plot twist to me.
yeah, so the first plot twist that this is the one that I did not enjoy as much as Loretta did, is that Calla is actually not Calla. She is a
Peasant
poor
girl
peasant girl who at 8 years old jumped
invaded the
for the
body
first
of
time and took over the body of the actual princess. So we never actually know who the actual princess is, and we don't know who Calla is. We don't know who what her real name is. We don't know anything other than she, for all intents and purposes, is actually the princess. And to me, I feel like that was not a good plot twist because the whole thing is like, oh my god, she killed her parents in cold blood because she wanted to save the kingdom, because she saw that they were gonna invade all of these places and they were trying to take over, and she didn't like that, which I was like, that's badass. Like a princess giving up her title and position to like get here, like because she hated
mm-hmm.
her parents, like that's awesome. But then you find out she's actually a peasant girl who hated them the whole time, who has like no emotional ties to anybody around her because she's a peasant girl. Like of course the peasant girl is going to kill her not parents. Like that I feel like it took away from like the shock value of that, you know? Like,
Yeah,
oh, she's a princess in hiding because she gave up her title, but really she didn't, because she was never a princess. Like, she knows what it's like to live poor. Like,
yeah,
that's not new to her. So, her going away and living poorly is not shocking. Like,
yeah,
okay. So the peasant girl came, like, if that was going to be the case, I would have rather it be that like she was always a peasant girl. Like we know from the very beginning that like
oh, like the
she was a
princess
pet.
was a peasant girl or something.
Yes, like
Yeah,
I would have wished that there
that
was
would have
like
been
some.
cool.
Also, please tell me why they make such a big deal about the fact that your eyes always change, like
That
they follow
confused
you.
me.
She makes such a big deal about like that's how you tell if a person is invaded, because the eye color has changed, right? So you know that it's somebody
But I
else. So
didn't
like,
like. I wasn't good at keeping track of that mentally. This is an example of something that like would be good to see in a show or a movie. But I wasn't good at keeping track of that, probably because of the audiobook and I wasn't invested. But like she kept talking about eye color, and I feel like I was supposed to know. Like I feel like I was supposed to be shocked a couple times because of the eye color, and I was like,
yeah,
"What?"
because the only instances for me where it was relevant were the black eyes that Anton and August have
August
that are
have that one.
similar.
I got. I
Then there's the silver eyes of the, I don't know what they're called, but
that I did not really
the
keep.
silver eyes of the people whose bodies can't be invaded, but they can invade other people's bodies. So whenever
Okay.
you saw silver eyes, it could be one of them, the soldiers invading a body with silver eyes.
Oh,
And then
yeah, I wasn't
also
good about
she
that.
mentions the yellow eyes, right? So there's this
Mm-hmm.
rule. There's this rule in this whole story about you'll know if somebody's invading because of their eye color. Your eye color always follows you. And how the royal family has a very specific yellow eye color that only the royal family has. You're telling me that it just so happens this peasant girl has the same color eyes as the royal family and nobody ever noticed that her eyes were different? Like
See, I
she
didn't even
spends
think of that.
she spends the whole time talking about how she has the royal family yellow eyes. How does she have the royal family yellow eyes? Like I
I
don't
don't know. I didn't even pick
I
up
don't
on that.
understand.
Whoosh.
It bugged me so much when she because they made I think it wouldn't have bugged me as much if there wouldn't have been so many instances of them talking about the eyes. But there
Yeah.
were so many instances that it sticks
They
in
did
your brain
mention
and
that
you're
a
like,
lot.
"Oh, okay, she has the royal yellow eyes." Like August doesn't have the royal yellow eyes because he's adopted, but like King Casa has the royal yellow eyes and like whatever, right? And so when they were like, "Oh yeah, she talks about the body that they find of the princess that they're like we caught her with the arrow, whatever, right?" And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Oh shoot, she gave up her real body to be in this body." Like that's the plot twist because she has the yellow eyes. So I just assumed that she was a princess because she talks about having royal yellow eyes. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"But you don't have royal yellow eyes then."
What's happening? I didn't mind this plot
I don't
twist
know
because
why
I
I'm
think I
being so
was.
nitpicky.
I. No, that's fair. I didn't. I was too confused about the eyes to even pick up on that. So, um, I didn't mind the plot twist. I think because I was absolutely so desperate for something interesting to happen that when it did, I was like, oh, cool, finally. And I didn't question it because I was just relieved something interesting happened. But yeah, I don't know. It
Yeah,
was
for
weird.
me, I was just like, I appreciated a plot twist for being a good plot or for being a plot twist, like having something like shocking happen because my guess was off. I just wish that they explained away the yellow eyes or like it was hinted at earlier, which it wasn't because she kept saying that she had the
She
royal
talks about
yellow
it.
eyes. And I was
Hmm.
like, okay, so you're lying to yourself or nobody notices or you're like, what is it called? You're like a bastard child. I don't know, like what,
Oh
like the
yeah,
king was out,
yeah,
like,
out of wedlock or
is
whatever.
it 8 years
Affair.
ago? I don't, yeah, I don't know what,
Maybe
but
that'll
like
be a plot
hopefully
twist
that
later. Like
I
she
was gonna say,
has the
hopefully she
eyes.
explains it away.
Yeah. But she should, if that's going to be something later, she should have done that in this book because now it's confusing and weird.
Yeah, so that was my
I
whole
don't know.
thing on the plot twist, the first plot twist. I will say that I did enjoy the plot twist about Leda. Is that how you say her name? Leda?
Yeah, that was my favorite one. Yeah, it's Leda.
I
Sorry.
Leda, yeah. So Leda is August's head of army, head of security,
Security?
soldiers, security. I don't know.
She's like
She's
his
a
right hand
soldier
man,
because
right hand woman,
yeah.
person.
Um and she ends up being a traitor and she ends up giving their secrets to the religious society, whatever it's called, the something
The cult
society.
of, yeah, the
Uh
society of
yeah,
something.
who wants to like bring down the uh kingdom, and he finds out that she's a traitor and he's like talking to her asking why, and she's like, because you wouldn't have changed anything, like you wouldn't have listened to the people, like I know
Yeah, she goes on
you're
this
like
rant to August
a
about
different
how, like,
variation.
he thinks he's going to be a better ruler than his father, his adopted father, but he's not. She's like, you're going to be a better ruler for maybe a week, and then you're going to revert back to everything that King Casa does anyway. And it was the best rant. I mean, she says it better than that, but it was the best rant. I was like,
Yes,
you go,
it
girl.
was the best scene.
I hope
Yeah,
you escape.
right, I was like, the only reason to read book 2 is to see how she comes back into it because they didn't kill her. They said, oh, she's gonna rot in the cell forever, like she's never gonna get out of that cell. So I was like, well, she's not dead yet, she's gonna come out, like
Which
how are we gonna bring
reminds
her back?
me, speaking of people not being dead, Ada, who is Anton's ex girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't, from what they say in the story, it doesn't seem like they were ever actually dating. It just seemed
I
like he
almost
was
said
obsessed with her.
girlfriend, and then when I was about to say it, I was like, they actually kind of weren't, but I guess they, I don't know. His woman that he liked, is in a coma for 7 years. In August, it's August's half sister. Also, that was confusing. The whole family dynamics thing. I was like, I don't know what's
Yeah, the
going
whole
on.
family tree, I was like, I'll just take your word for it.
You were like, is August actually related to anybody? And I was like, I don't know. And then you had to tell
It
me
took me so long. Yeah, you were like, no, I don't think they've explained that
he's
yet. And then
adopted.
literally
I
the
don't
next
know.
chapter, but
You were
literally the
like,
next
it
chapter
literally
they
says it
explain
right
it.
here. But
Yes. So also to
anyway,
clarify that for everybody in case I don't know. So August had parents that were like, I don't know, a seamstress and a leather maker or something like that. His aunt on the mom's side married King Casa. So he is a nephew by marriage, right? And then um the parents die and the aunt dies, so King Casa and August are the only ones left outside of Ada. And so August spends the rest of his years after his parents die, like trying to convince King Casa that he's his favorite and the best. So that way he adopts him and becomes like the official heir since King
because
Casa
he's a
couldn't
little
have any
power
heirs of his
hungry.
own.
Mm.
Yes. So he
But
was related, but by marriage, not by blood.
yeah, which I did not get. I was like, thank you for telling me that. But Ada is in this. Ada is in this coma for 7 years. She's in the coma long before we even start the book, and August doesn't give a shit about her. And then all of a sudden at the end, he's like, "Oh my god, we need to get rid of her. She's still alive. What if she wakes up?" And I'm like, why are you thinking about this?
Where
Like
did this
all of
come
the
from?
sudden, you just want this girl dead. It's been 7 years, bro. I don't know. That bugged me. I was like, why are you so fixated on this
It
suddenly now?
it
She
made
knows my
sense to me when he
secret.
has
She's
that
known your secret
flashback.
the entire
Yes.
time. I don't know. It was weird.
But he wasn't planning on overthrowing the king at that time. Before,
I mean, yeah.
he was planning. No, no, sorry. He wasn't planning to overthrow the king in that way, in the instance of having Kala kill him and then taking over, right? So Leda, August, or Anton, Ada, and what's his face? The other security guy.
Gallopay.
Yeah, Gallopay. We're all gonna leave, and because there was like a rumor that there was like another castle like out in the boondocks
Yeah,
or
they were
whatever,
gonna split.
and they were gonna go and like start a new castle or kingdom to take over. And then Ada didn't know that at first. She found like his schemings or whatever and was like, I'm gonna tell on you until
Oh yeah,
August convinced her to like go along with the plan. But then they all backed out, and Otto was like, "I still want to leave, so I'm going without y'all." And then August followed, or Anton followed her, and that's when all hell broke loose, and she like got the Yazoo sickness or whatever it's called, and
yeah,
now we're here. The thing that bugged me about Ada is that Anton spends literally, what did you say, like 80% of the book being fixated on her and being like, I can't give up on her. I need to win the money to save her. And like, when he finds out that her fingers or her limbs are turning blue or whatever, he's like, we need to
he
fix
freaks
this. Go
out.
get a doctor.
Mm.
And nothing happens significantly between Kim and Kala up until that point. He's still obsessed with Ada. And then all of a sudden he's like, I don't care about you anymore. Like, I'll go with
Yeah,
Kala instead. And Kala's like, oh, you have to choose. Like, how do I know you're not gonna like betray me for her? And I'm like, you don't, because he's been literally been
because
talking
he's
about her
still
the
obsessed
entire
with her.
time.
Yeah.
Like, are you dumb? You literally killed your parents to save the kingdom, but you can't tell that this guy is obsessed with his like comatose whatever girl. Like,
Non-girlfriend.
yeah, like I don't understand.
Fuck Betty. I don't
If
know.
somebody has spent 7 years keeping someone else alive, you would think that like the choice has already been made. Like I don't
Yeah, you've been around for 2 weeks.
where. And then like
Maybe.
he talks about Ada. He's like, oh, I went to go see Ada. Gotta leave you because Ada's in trouble. Oh, peace out. My pager's beeping. Like, take care of yourself. Ada needs
That's
me.
when she's like, I love you.
And then she's like, I don't know, like, oh, I told you my secret, so now we can like cuddle and like I feel safe with you because
It
I
was
told you my
so
secret.
weird.
And then the thing that bugged me too was she made a comment of like, maybe he'll realize it with all of the clues that I've been dropping and like all of the
Oh
pieces
yeah,
of
you were like,
myself
what
that
clues?
I've been like let slip. And I was like, are we living the same life, Kala? Like you didn't tell him anything. I don't understand.
There was like one clue, kind of. But no,
Like,
the Otto thing bugs me too because he spends like 80% of the book being obsessed with this comatose girl, and then you find out what their relationship was like before she went into a
uh-huh.
coma, and she's like terrible, and like they didn't spend hardly any time together, and you're like, why have you spent 7 years supporting this chick? I don't get it. I don't even get why you're obsessed. I don't
It
understand.
it was literally, I mean, maybe this is how we're supposed to feel and we're just not taking it very well. I don't know, but like
I don't know.
I you know that that's the reason why I hate love triangles in the first place, because there's already one person that the like main character is obviously obsessed with. So the fact that like Kala has so much going for her, like she didn't need Anton. She didn't need to change the plan. Like
No.
she could have just moved on with her life and had it all settled. And then she had to go and be like, "Oh, well, maybe there's a different way." And like, but why?
Yeah. Also, that cracked me up when she was like, "Oh, I'll just talk to August about it." Like he's this super understanding guy, and then she goes and talks to him about it, and he is, not cool about changing the plan, and he's like, gets mad at her, and she's shocked, and I'm like, "What?" Of course, he's not happy. Of course, what? I don't understand.
Yes, I love
My
that
favorite
too.
characters were Yelis, Chami, her girlfriend, and Eno. And then Eno
Mine too.
died, and I was like, fuck this book. I got so mad. It's like, he didn't even need to die. That was just like a thing to like that you wanted to happen I
For
don't know,
what?
for
What was the purpose of
drama.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't any even lesson learned. Like Kala just
That
goes
was
into
when
it
I
being like,
really, really gave
he's
up.
dead.
I was like skimming the rest. I was like, no, fuck this. I was so mad.
I'm glad to say that I finished every single page of that and I was like, wow, what a
You did,
journey.
yeah.
But
I did
not.
not.
It was just they literally go from like I
Full
hate you.
disclosure, I read a summary of the last three chapters. I couldn't do it.
The last two chapters are nothing
I
special
got to the
except for the
part
last
where,
chapter.
yeah, I got to the part where Gallopé is like, "Do you want me to take care of Kella?" And August is like, "Yeah." And then, her and Anton are fighting, and then like someone knocks them out or something, and I was like, "I can't do this." And I literally stopped and I looked up a summary of it. It's like I can't. But the ending seemed cool. Like
The
the very
ending,
end.
the very end,
The
I
summary
thought
I read
was
of the
really
ending seemed
good.
good. Yeah.
Yes, the ending was really good because I feel like everybody got what they deserved except for Anton. Anton comes out on top, and I was like, how do we get here? But then also, he is shisty, so it makes sense. But like,
Yeah.
August got freaking invaded, and Kala's like, oh shit, Anton is in August's body. Which he told her. Like when she was telling the secrets, he was like, "Oh yeah, I've even invaded August's body. Like I'm powerful." Like she knew that.
He does say that. I forgot. Yeah.
She knew that and she still was like, "I'm sorry." Like if you were going to kill him anyway or try to, you should have just done it from the beginning instead of trying to like plot this whole thing where you both end up on top. Like
Yeah. I also feel like Kala talks about how powerful she is jumping sometimes. Like, I feel like she's mentions that several times in the book, and I want to be like,
how do
you've
you
done
know?
it one time. How do you even know?
Yeah, she does say that actually. I think she says like, "Oh, the royal family, or if your genes are strong like
Or
ours,
something.
like
Yeah,
you
shit
can
like
invade
that.
anybody, but this body's precious. Like this body is mine." And she makes it seem like she doesn't do it because it's like frowned
I was
upon
on
when you're
board with
royal.
that before the twist too, because like the thought of jumping into another body and then just leaving my real body comatose on the floor back there, like that
Yes,
sounds
that's what
so
got me
weird.
too. That's what like that's why I thought the plot twist was that because she says, "Oh, I've only jumped once," and then that's like the one clue we get to her secret.
Yeah.
So when they
No,
said
Deb,
that,
there were so many clues.
so when So when she said that, I thought that the plot twist was like that when she was young, they were teaching her how to jump and she jumped so fast or like she hated it so much that she never wanted to go back into her body. So the body that they killed or that they showed everybody like, oh, we found the
Oh,
princess
that would have been really
was
cool.
her body. So she literally says like I don't want to jump, I can't jump because she doesn't have her original body to go back to. So I thought that the plot twist was that the body that she was in was not Princess Kala's original body. That's what I thought the plot twist was going to be.
That's a way better twist. I didn't get that's what you meant.
Yes, I thought that because she says, "Oh, I've only jumped once and I hated it. I didn't like the feeling." And he was like, "What do you mean? You had to jump back." And then she like gives him a look. So I assumed that they had like an attendant who was her age or somebody that she knew
Like a
that she like
Gallopay.
yes
Yeah.
that she like jumped into and that's how she knows she's so strong. She like invaded this person at a young age and they just stored her body for her like real body for if she ever wanted to jump back into it, which she never did. So they had the body already there being like, look, we found the princess,
Yeah.
here you go. And they just like tossed her real body that she can't go back to anymore. So she's like, all right, well, this is Princess Kala from now on. But that didn't happen. So I was like, okay, I like my twist better.
Yours is way better. Now I'm sad.
But the ending was really good. I wished that we would have had like an epilogue to like give us a little hint, a little inkling at like what was to come. Like I think that would
Mm-hmm.
have made me a little bit more excited to
Yeah, no
maybe want
idea
to
where
read
the
book two.
direction of this series is going.
Yeah, none. I'm like, okay, I don't want any of these people to rule. Like I just want them all to die and then like somebody else, like kind of like the Hunger Games, like everyone, like all the leaders just like get offed and then somebody else who we didn't expect takes over.
Yeah. I also thought it was wild that entire part of the book where Ulysses' brother works for the cult or whatever, and
Right?
then
That was so random.
and then he's like a college graduate, right? Did I read that
Yes.
right?
No.
He's
So
like he's like
he's
a grown
smart.
adult.
Yes.
And
Correct.
his sister comes to bring him lunch one day, and then he's like, "Hey, you should look at these like really top secret records that no one is supposed to look at. Like, can you check
Yes.
this out for me?" First of all, she's not an accountant. Why would you even ask her these questions? And Eunice is like, "Yeah, okay." And then they get in trouble, and I'm like, "The fucking course you did."
Yeah.
What's
From
happening?
what I took from that scene, I thought that it was supposed to be a little bit more intense than it came across. Like, it's one of those instances where, like, let's say I have a job and it's like top secret, and I find out that, like, I don't know, the president
I mean,
is
yeah,
the president is selling like our freaking
blackmailing or
yeah, the
something
president is
shady
selling our nuclear codes to like someone, right? And
on the black market.
I'm like, bro, check this out. Like, am I reading this wrong? Like, is this really what's happening? And then I bring somebody else in to
Okay,
like
that makes a little more
check.
sense when you say it like that.
Yes, I think that's what the intention was, but the way that it came across was not that. It was more like, hey, sister, like, come in here, check
Look
this
at this,
out.
isn't it crazy? I don't know.
Yes,
And then this
because
guy comes in and they get knocked out and stuff, and I was like, duh.
yeah, I think that it was supposed to be more of like a plot twist of like they're smuggling something or they're
I mean,
getting
yeah.
money from somewhere or something that we obviously don't find out by the end of the book because I still don't know what was going on in that room and like the accounting. And then he just leaves. He's like, the society is not for me. So I'm like,
I
so we're
know.
never gonna get to find out what were in those books?
Yeah. Obviously, he was a plot device to show us. I think that was when we learned that the Secret Society or whatever was keeping track of all the players in the competition. So, like, I get the purpose of it, but I was like, really? What's happening?
Yeah, it could have happened. Like she could have just been waiting for
There
her
could have been a
brother,
way
or
better
like
organic way for that to
yes,
happen. I don't know.
I thought that the books from the room, like what he said was suspicious, was going to come back around, but it didn't by the end of the book. So I was like, there's so many
Yeah.
things that you mentioned in this story for whatever reason that we didn't need yet. Like we didn't need that there were these records that were off about the society. We didn't need all of the like historical information about Talon and like who took over what just yet because it didn't come up. You could have just said, "Oh yeah, we have enemies to the south that we think are invading." Like there was no need to like go into detail about any of that. Like there
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of just extra information that could have cut the book down by like 100 pages. I was like, come on,
Yep.
speed it up.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. The Secret Society was like another layer of confusion that I didn't want. But I did enjoy Pompey. Like her, she's like totally evil, and she had really cool powers and stuff. And I liked that. I don't know. I liked her
I liked her.
villainy.
I did too. I liked her as a villain, but I thought that she was going to be more important because they're setting her up as this like
Doesn't
infiltrator.
she
Like,
die?
yes, like that's what I'm saying.
That was
Like,
confusing. I
if
thought they make her seem so powerful and unstoppable, and then she just dies. And I was like,
yes,
August kills her, and I was like, "There's no way she's coming back to life or some shit." I don't know. And then
I
she is dead.
unless she did what Anton did at the end of the book and
Maybe, yeah.
left,
Maybe
and
she'll
so
be
she
back
is
again.
still alive and she is the main villain. But I was like, if you're gonna bring this person out as a villain, like actually let them be the villain. Like we see her 4 times.
Yeah.
So I'm
And
like,
most of that time, we don't even know really. Like she's just this mysterious character in the back of round of stuff.
yeah. And I was just like, I don't. Okay. So like all the cool characters die or get invaded or whatever, and I'm like, I also understand why she did it this way, I think, but I also didn't like that the players were able to wander the city freely because then she'll be like, "Oh yeah, a few weeks went by," or like, "It's been 4 weeks and we're still at this many players." And I'm like, "Well,
I
there's your
also
problem."
Yeah. I also didn't get like I understood that their watches or whatever would beep and then they would have to like that was their cue to fight another player and it would tell them where to go. But I didn't really before that like if they see another player they can kill them. Like they can fight if they want. So but I didn't get like how you even identify people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's literally
Like
just by their watches.
okay. Like do like if you get near one
Yes,
without the
so they
beep, does it tell you?
I don't think so. I think that you either have to just be like diligent
Sometimes
about
they would
it.
like run into each other and fight or something and I'd be like how do you even know that it's a player in the
Yeah.
competition?
There were like offhanded comments every now and then about like their watch flashed on their wrist and then I was like, "Okay, I got to go," or like whatever it was.
Yeah,
So, it
yeah, I don't
was
know how I feel about that either. I
yeah.
liked that the Hunger Games was like in a contained area and it made sense.
Yes, I was going to say they have a coliseum literally in the city. Like it would have made sense
That
to
yeah,
have like
scheduled fights or something.
yes, yeah, that's literally what I was going to say. Like different levels. Like okay, round 1 and then you have
That would have been
like
cool.
yeah, like a challenge. Like it's a different what are they called? Like a
Oh,
not a maze, but like
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
whatever it is. It's kind of like Wipeout, and you have all of these different things that like detract you or help
The
you, and
course.
yeah, yeah, like a course.
Mm,
And each round it's like a different challenge, or each round it's like a different type of fight, or there are different rules or a different game or something like that. I think that would have been cool.
yeah, that would have been way better.
And then the players could have just been like housed in a specific building, like they have to live together or something. That way Kala and
We're
Anton would have
just
had to like
we're just rewriting
interact with each other.
Serpent in the Wings of Night. We're just rewriting that.
I honestly didn't think about that, but yeah,
Serpent in
basically.
the Wings of Night, but make it,
Body jumping,
cyberpunk
cyberpunk.
body jumping.
Yeah,
uh,
because there's just like too many factors, I think, going on.
but you know what? I rated that like 5 stars, so
Ugh, I think that was all of my feedback that I had in terms of like specific details about the plot twist. Like Leda needs to come back. Someone who reads book 2, let me know if that happens. Um
I will
Also,
probably read summaries of the other books because I'm curious to see where the hell this goes. But
I was also going to say that like a lot of times she makes the characters seem less intelligent than I think they actually are, and if they are that unintelligent, I'm like, how did you make it this far? Because Kella literally says when they're sitting at the the diner table to August, like, "Oh, is
Gallopay.
Gallopay, is Gallopay still in love with you?" as like a burn, And he's like, "What are you talking? Like, why are you saying that?" And he gets mad. And then there's a scene like later on in the book where he's like, "Gallopay like touched my neck," and he like gives me a face, like a look that I don't know how to respond to it. Like I feel like I'm losing him too. And I'm like, Calla literally told you that Gallopay is in love with you.
Literally, it's
I don't
so
understand.
obvious.
I don't
That
understand what you're talking about, bro.
that bugged me too because that bugged me because like they sort of dance around each other the entire time and nothing happens. And like I either want there to be tension, like I don't know. I don't even know if there was supposed to be tension or not. I mean, obviously Gallopay is in love with August, but I was like, am I rooting for them to get together? Should I not? I don't like I either want it to be a thing or I don't want it to be a thing. I don't want to be confused about whether it's a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes. I 100% understand that. And then he goes and he like talks to his aunt who works at a store, and then they go on this tangent of like
That was
how
weird.
they're called Waisanas. That's what they're called. Like how the Waisanas can leave. I think that's how you pronounce it. Um, can leave the palace if they want, but it's frowned upon because it's your duty to like protect the royal family.
Mm-hmm.
And like the aunt leaves and nobody talks to her except for
He's buying
him. And
poison, I think, for
yeah, I
Ada,
was
but
just
it's
like,
like this huge side conversation that didn't really mean anything.
yeah, and I'm like, I don't. Why would you introduce this new random character this late into the book if it's not going anywhere? Like, I
Yeah.
don't get it. And so then she's like, "You gotta go. Somebody's coming in." And he's like, "Okay, I'll see you later." With his bag of poison.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. August, too, just bugged me from
Also,
the start.
Ada wakes up at the end and she's like, "I have to get to the palace." And I'm like, "Why? What do you know? What is this thing that's going on? You're supposed to be dead. Like, what's going on?" And it was just so confusing because it was like one page or like one or two pages about like, oh, there's a dead body in the morgue with all the other dead bodies, and then the dead body wakes up and everyone's like, oh, she woke up, she's supposed to be dead. And then she's like, I gotta go to the palace, and that's it. And I'm like,
Oh, I
that's
wonder how
it.
she wakes up.
There's literally no information. All we get is that she's awake.
That she, yeah.
I was like, great. Calla pissed off Anton. Now Otto's awake, and he's gonna be like, haha, I'm the prince.
Bye, I love you. I love
But
her.
then he can't be with Ada if he's in the prince's body because the
They're,
prince is
ew, they're siblings.
Ada's half sibling.
How
So
very Jason Clary of.
yeah, and so then he's gonna have to like piece out of the prince's body and go into his
And then
real
August will be
body.
pissed.
And then August is gonna be like, "If you're kicked out again." I don't even know. See, this is what I'm saying. I don't even know how, like, where this
I
is
don't
gonna
even know where it's
go.
going. Yeah.
There's just so many factors. But also, does this happen in the play? Because that was
I
my
was
main
just going to
concern.
say, in the play, I think I mean, this is from the summary, so take it with a grain of salt. But in the play, I think it opens with Antony and Cleopatra together already. And he's like obsessed with her and they love each other. And then he finds out he's fooling around, he's having an affair um, in Egypt with Cleopatra. And then he finds out his wife in Rome dies. So he has to go back to Rome. And then when he finally leaves Cleopatra and sees Octavius, I think is who August is supposed to be, which
Yeah,
also bugged the crap out of me. It's like, why are August and Anton so similar in name when they don't have to be?
yeah.
I don't
She
know.
did say in the back of the book that she tried to name the characters similar to their names in the play. So like Calla and then her last name. That's why I said Ptolemy, because in the back of the book she says she tries to get it to sound similar to like who their characters are in the play. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool, I
Huh.
guess. But I don't know how that is in reference to like their names being so
August
similar
and
in the book
Octavius.
versus
I don't know. But anyway, um, Antony finds out his wife is dead, so he pieces out and goes back to Rome. And then when he's with Octavius, who's like his co-ruler of Rome, I think there's another guy. I think there's another ruler, a third one, but I forget what his name is. Um, he gets clarity away from Cleopatra, and then Octavius convinces him to get engaged to his half sister. maybe her name is Ada in this play too. I can't remember. So they're engaged for a while, and then I don't think she dies, but they don't end up together. He ends up running back to Cleopatra. So I don't know.
Hopefully that's similar. I don't know. Do any of them deserve happiness at this point?
In the end of the play, Antony and Cleopatra end up dying together. They like commit suicide together or something. So
it's like Romeo and Juliet.
Pretty much, yeah. But like make it more political. There's like some wars that don't go well for Antony, and I think he like runs away from one of the war. Him and Octavius end up fighting, and so he uses Cleopatra's army to like fight him, and then he like ends up running away because he doesn't want to like hurt Cleopatra or any of her people or whatever. So he's like, oh no, and he like runs away, but then he's like full of guilt and shame because he's a man with an ego and he ran away from a war, and then somehow they end up dying together. I don't know.
Wow, that's a lot.
This is from like a paragraph summary I read too. So anyone who knows the actual play is like, what the fuck? That's not what happens.
Well, I don't have high hopes for the rest of the series. Maybe the highest hope that I have is that they do all die and somebody else takes over.
Eno comes back to life and he's the one left standing in the end.
That would be great. Leda gets out of her style. He wins all the money.
Yeah, him and Leda rule over the town.
Yeah, they tear down the walls and everybody's free, and that's the best we can hope for.
Oh my god. But yeah, anyway, that's that.
But anyway, what are we reading this month? What are we reading?
We're reading The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. I probably said that wrong, but I'm very excited about this one because it sounds really good and it has really great reviews, which is promising. So, it's shorter.
We did our research,
and it's a standalone.
That is also her debut adult fantasy, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. She did a YA series under Reed Riordan, the Arusha series.
That's really cool.
She also did the Serpents one, the Silver Serpents.
Yeah.
The heist one, I don't remember. Gilded Serpents?
Gilded Wolves.
Gilded Wolves, yeah. She did
the second one is like Serpents, Silver Serpents or something.
So she has some YA stuff. This is her first adult novel. So we have high hopes. And if you want to join us, the schedule is up on our Instagram and it's also in the Discord where we will be talking to everybody. I promise that I'll stay on pace with this one.
I think it'll be easier this time. Fingers crossed.
Yes, and if you have any this year, I think we've mentioned it before, but this year Loretta and I are definitely being more active about diversifying our shelves. So if you do have any recommendations by authors who are not white, preferably not men either, because we're men haters. But anything will do. Let us know. We'll add it to our list of books for the year, and we can hopefully get to your pick, and you can join us for our book club.
Yay!
Anything else on your end? We have any other housekeeping?
No. The link for the Discord. The link for the Discord will be down below. You can find us on all of the social media things. Also through, I don't know, we're on Instagram.
We're on everything at Emo Girls Guide.
Yep. So come and find us.
Come hang out. Also, let us know, have you read this book? Have you read Immortal Longings? Did you agree with us? Did you not agree with us?
Please
very
rant
interested.
With us.
Yeah, I'm very interested in other people's thoughts, so let us know. But in the meantime, I hope your day is filled with main character energy.
Main character energy.
Woo!